Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Let us see the second part of this chapter, endogenetic movements. Last time we have finished with the Rift Valley. So we have started with the slow movements. In that we were talking about mountain building movements, which are called as orogenic movements. Let us understand what are continent building movements. Continent building movements are called as epirogenic movements. Now the movements are occurring towards the center. Slow movements are occurring towards the center of the earth or from the center towards the earth's crust, either from the center of the earth to the earth's crust. Because of these movements, a vast part of the earth's crust get uplifted or the part can get subsided. That means either it can be lifted above, that is crust might rise up, or that crust might lower down. When the part of the earth's crust is lifted, that is when it comes above the mean sea level, when the height of that place increases, we call such a movement as continent forming movement or continent building movement. Extensive plateaus are also formed by such movements. If originally the continent portion of the crust subsides, or if it goes below the sea level, we say it has formed the part of the seabed. So because of the continent building movement, the land, the crust get either uplifted forming the continent, or if it was already a continent and the part of the crust has subsided, it will go to form the seabed. Now let us go to the next type of movement, that are the sudden movements. After seeing the slow movement, we will be seeing about the sudden movement. So sudden movement, as the word says, happens all of a sudden, doesn't last for a long time, but it causes a lot of devastation. So earthquake and volcanoes are the example of these sudden movements. Let us understand what are the earthquakes. Suppose you stand on a platform and a fast train goes on the track, very fast train. You will feel the tremors, you will feel the platform is shaking. The same experience, same tremors you will feel if you are standing on the bridge and a heavy loaded truck crosses the bridge in a speed. So in the same way, tremors are felt in the earthquake. So what are earthquake? Because of the movement occurring in the interior of the earth, tremendous tension is created in the earth's crust. We have seen a lot of movements are going there inside the earth, and this movement, this tension gives rise to waves. Okay, when this tension goes beyond a limit, when this tension becomes unlimited, energy is released in the form of waves, and this waves causes the earth's surface to tremble, causes the earth's surface to quake, and we say that earthquake has taken place. Magnitude of earthquake is measured in Richter scale. Now what can be the causes of earthquake? Here are some of the causes of earthquake. Moving of plates, colliding of plates, plates sliding one below the other, formation of fractures in the rock layers, and volcanic eruption. We know that earth's crust is made up of different plates. Okay, earth's crust are made up of different plates. 7 major plates are there, and there are innumerable smaller plates. When these plates move, because of the internal movement, these plates move, and this is the movement of the plate causes earthquake. When the plates dash against each other, collide against each other, again it can give rise to earthquake. Sometimes the plate slides, one plate slides below the other plate. Okay, it causes earthquake. Cracks and fractures develop in the earth's crust because of the tension mounting in the interior of the earth, and causing of these fractures again leads to earthquake. There is always an earthquake before a volcanic eruption. So before the volcanic eruption, a volcano erupts, earthquake tremors are felt in the adjoining region. So these are the causes of the earthquake. Okay, let us understand focus and epicenter. Let us understand what do you mean by focus and what is the point epicenter, the meaning of that point. Here you can see that when the movement are occurring below the surface of the earth, tension mounts up. Okay, tension keeps on increasing, it keeps on accumulating. A point will come when no more tension can be accumulated at that point, and that tension gets converted into high energy, and the place where this high amount of tension has accumulated will be the center of the earthquake. It will be the point from where the earthquake or the seismic waves will start traveling. So this point which is there below the earth's surface, you can see in this picture, the point is shown and it is called as focus. Focus is also called as hypocenter. So what is focus? It is the point, it is the place which is there, which is inside the earth, inside the earth's crust, or maybe even in mantle, where the tension mounts up, and when the tension becomes very large, at this focus point a large amount of energy is formed and it starts releasing in the form of a seismic wave. So that point inside the earth's surface, from where the first waves or from where the waves of the earthquake starts, that point is called as a focus. So it is a point in the earth center. Other name for focus is hypocenter, and it is from this point that the energy waves, the seismic waves, are scattered in all the direction. So we have seen the point focus. Then what is the point epicenter? Now epicenter is that place on the earth's surface where the energy waves are reaching first, where the energy waves reach first. This place is exactly above the focus, but focus is inside the earth's crust and epicenter is on the earth's crust. So the place on the earth's surface or on the earth's crust which receives the earthquake waves first, that place is called as epicenter. Epicenter is closest to the focus. It will be the first to receive the earthquake waves, and it will be the place where the maximum damage, maximum devastation will be done. So perpendicular, epicenter is perpendicular to focus. So epicenter is exactly above focus but on the surface, and focus is below epicenter inside the earth's crust. So when the tension is released at the focus, the released energy travels in all the direction, and this energy is traveling in the form of waves. There are three different types of seismic waves or earthquake waves. They are the primary waves, secondary waves, and the surface waves. Let us talk about them in detail. This is the picture of your textbook 2.12. You can see the different types of waves: primary waves, secondary waves, and surface waves. Let us understand what are primary waves. Primary waves are also called as P waves. These are the one where the earthquake waves, these waves are the first one to reach the surface. Okay, the first waves, the first tremors that come when the earthquake starts, these waves are known as primary waves. Just as when you are small, you first enter the primary section and then go to the secondary section. So in the same way, primary means the early waves, the waves coming first to the earth's surface. Okay, these waves are coming from the interior of the earth, but the speed of these waves is very fast. It travels at a very great speed, and these waves are traveling in the radial direction. That means it is going in all the direction. If focus is the point from where these waves have emitted, it will be traveling in all the direction. As you can see in this picture, this white straight lines which are shown, you can see them traveling in all the direction. So primary waves travel with a great speed. It travels in radial direction, and here in primary waves the particles are moving to and fro. Horizontally they are moving backward and forward. आगे पीछे, the movement is to and fro. Okay, so particles of rock, because of this primary waves, are moved to and fro, backward, forward in the horizontal direction. You can see these waves are not that destructive because the movements are backward, forward. Now these waves can travel through the solid, liquid, as well as the gaseous medium. That means these waves can travel through all the medium. Okay, but when it is traveling through the liquid medium, its direction gets changed, but it can travel through all the mediums. So what do we know about primary waves? These are the waves which reaches the earth's surface first. The speed of these waves is very fast. It travels in all the direction, and it makes the particle move backward, forward, or to and fro, and it can travel through any state, whether it is solid, liquid, or gaseous state. So this was about the primary waves. Now after the primary waves comes the secondary waves. So secondary waves will be the waves which reaches the earth's surface after primary waves. So during the earthquake, the first tremors that you feel, which are little bit milder, are the primary waves. But primary waves tells you to be aware that the next destructive waves are on its way, and these destructive waves are these secondary waves or the S waves. And S waves are the next to come to the surface after the primary waves. Again, this S waves also travel, or secondary waves also scatter in all the direction from the focus. Let us see the textbook diagram once again. Yes, the up and down, the zigzag line that you can see. Okay, these are the secondary waves. They are also traveling in all the directions. Okay, but the speed, the velocity of the secondary waves is little lesser. Primary waves were the fastest. Secondary waves are not that fast. They are traveling slowly. It takes time for them to reach the surface. That is why first waves to reach the surface will be the primary waves. After that, aram se the secondary waves are coming. The particles lying in the wave move up and down. See, it makes the rock particle or the particle of the crust to move up and down. So it will make the particle move vertically. So if the particle is moving up and down, it will be more destructive. They are destructive waves. As compared to primary waves, these are destructive waves. But secondary waves can travel only through the solid medium. If it tries to travel to the liquid medium will absorb the secondary waves. So what do we know about the secondary waves? They are the one to reach the surface after the primary waves. They are traveling in all the direction. Velocity of this wave is little lesser. Rock particles move here up and down. It can generally only travel through solid medium, and these waves are destructive than primary waves. Now comes the most destructive wave, the L waves or the surface waves. So always remember, in types of waves we have P, S and L. P for primary, S for secondary, and L waves matlab the surface waves. So this primary secondary waves causes the shaking of the earth's crust. Okay, so earth's crust may waves are developed because of primary and secondary waves. So surface waves does not come from the focus, but they are generated because of the primary and secondary waves. Primary and secondary waves were coming from the earth's focus, but surface waves are generated because of the primary and secondary waves, and they are traveling only in the direction of the circumference of the earth. If we see the textbook diagram, you will see that on the earth's crust there are zigzag lines. These are the waves, these are the surface waves. So these waves are generated because of the primary and secondary waves, and they are moving along the crust or in the direction of circumference of the earth. But these are the most destructive wave, because in these waves the particle are moving not only horizontally but vertically also. Back and forth movement is there of the particle. At the same time, the vertical movement, up and down movement is also there. Okay, and these are the most destructive waves. Maximum damage is caused because of the surface waves. Because of the surface waves or the L waves. Okay, so this was about all the three types of seismic waves. Now we come to the seismograph. The instrument that measures the seismic waves is called as the seismograph. Here is a simple diagram of a seismograph. Seismogram. Okay, this instrument is a seismogram, and the graph that it is generating, making is known as seismograph. Okay, so magnitude of the earthquake can be studied using this instrument called as seismogram. Okay, seismogram prepares a seismograph, and we can understand what is the magnitude of the earthquake. Okay, whether the magnitude is less than 4, so anything less than 4 will be only shaking or only tremoring, no major loss, but anything above 5 will be destructive. Okay, so with the help of modern technology and many advanced type of seismographs have been designed. With the help of them, even the micro seismic waves whose magnitude is very less can also be measured. Okay, so here is the picture where you can see before an earthquake some background sound, some sort of noise will be heard. Human ears can hear this sound at times, but many a times this sound is ultrasonic sound which cannot be heard by our ears. Animals, particularly the burrowing animals, okay, dogs, these animals can hear that sound. So they will be the first to come to know that something is happening in the interior of the earth. So some sort of background noise will be there, and thereafter the primary waves, the first waves arrive. Okay, so after the primary waves comes the secondary waves, but a little bit time duration is there between the two waves, and finally see how the up and down can be seen in the surface waves. So within few minutes the earthquake is over, but within that few minutes the earth will be devastated. The place where these tremors are felt, that place will be completely devastated. There will be a large loss of life and property. Okay, so earthquakes are very devastating. Let us see the effects of the earthquake. It is because of the earthquake that cracks or fractures are developed on the ground. You can see a very large crack has developed in this on this road after the earthquake. Earthquake causes landslides. Large mass of land on the mountain top slides down with a great speed, taking all the things along with it while it is coming down. Groundwater changes its course. The wells might dry up, or all of a sudden the level of the water in the well might rise up. These are the effects of earthquake. Some areas get lifted while some areas might subside. Tsunamis are generated in ocean floor. When it experiences the tremor, the waves will be caused because of this movement, because of this earthquake, and these waves are very, very tall, and this tall tsunami waves causes a lot of life, particularly in the coastal areas. Snow covered areas, avalanche may occur. So in snow covered areas, the large snow which is accumulated on the top of the mountains comes down, slides down with a great speed. This is called as an avalanche. Buildings collapse, there is loss of life and property, transport routes get disrupted, communication system gets collapsed. So these are some of the effects of earthquake. So earthquake is always it causes panic among the people, it causes some sort of devastation. Okay, thank you students.